Okay, we are live and we're a little later than usual because I just had some friends over and we were doing some encaustic painting. So I thought it would be fun to show you guys what we were doing. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, it's Heather Boyd Wire, and usually what I do on these live streams is wire art and jewelry. And because tonight I was doing an art night with my friends, we were doing encaustic painting, I thought it would be fun just to show you guys what we were doing. So hey there, Jay Jellyfish. I'm doing this on my iPod. I can't see the comments that come up very well, but I'll do my best to answer your comments. And I'm going to show you guys tonight that a little bit about encaustic painting and how you can combine it with wire. So I thought that would kind of be the loop to kind of connect it with what I usually do, which is the wire art and jewelry. And so I'm going to flip my screen and show you guys a little bit what I am doing. So let me flip the screen. Uh, Amazing, you're absolutely amazing. I love your work. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. So tonight we're doing something a little bit different. This is encaustic paint. Let me know in the comments if you guys have ever done encaustic painting. So you'll see what I have here is there's a hot plate. So this is just a retro hot plate that I bought at a bazaar. These are encaustic paints, which is basically wax. So this is how it looks. This is Cama Pigments, which is a company in Montreal that sells encaustic wax. It's a little bit like crayon wax, except I wouldn't use crayons for this because they smell really bad and toxic. You can do this type of thing with melted crayons, but it's not that great because it smells bad. But this encaustic paint is beautiful. So here's some little things that we did, little abstract kind of things with the encaustic. So it's really cool. It's like melted wax. It looks a little bit like liquid acrylic paints. So it's super cool. And then the one I did that combines the wire is actually this one. And now this one I had done a sample. I did a class at the Viva Vita Art Shop Art Gallery last week, and actually I did my live from there, and we made some what did we make last week? We made hands. That's what we did. We made hand pendants and earrings. And so in the workshop, we did sort of this encaustic background. This is gold leaf. This is actually a drawing done on tissue paper, and then this is the wire. So what I thought it would be fun to do is show you guys how it works, and then do a little wire piece and attach it to the wax. So we're going to try to do that. I'm going to try to place my camera in a way that you can see what I'm doing. So I have a little stand here, so I'm just going to bring this up onto the stand and do my best to, so you'll kind of see a little bit the wax. There's a bit of a shadow here. I'm not sure if I can do something about that. Let me see if I can get rid of that shadow, because right now, is that better? That might be a little bit better, but let me know if that's better or worse. I think that's okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to seat myself down and show you how it works with the wax. And so basically what you do is you're going to get a surface. So I'm going to get like this paper. It's like a watercolor paper. And you could also do this with a wood surface, like a wood board surface. And because I can't find my scissors either, I'm just going to tear it like that a little bit. So we're just going to use this watercolor paper. If you have wooden board, that would be good to use as well. And basically all of the wax is melting on there. And what you can do is get either a spatula, or you can get a thin spatula, or you can get a paintbrush to put it on the, upside down, to put it on the surface. So what I'm going to do is I'll just bring this up a little closer, and I'm going to just scoop some bits just to show you how it works. So if you put the paint on like that, you see it's quite liquidy, so you can just put it on like that, or you can get like a spatula. I'm not going to be too fussy about the colors for this one, so we could put it on with a spatula. It says, "Hi GMA, how is everyone?" So yeah, I'm sorry if I'm missing the comments that come up because I'm in a kind of an awkward place. I'm in my dining room doing the live stream, but just to show you guys how encaustic works. So basically you can put the wax on like that with a tool, or you just pick it up in these little pots. They're already melted because they're on a hot plate. So you can actually just kind of like pour the wax on a little bit, and you can get the colors you want. I'm going to show you how this is going to work. So we're just going to pour the wax on a little bit like that. And let me get another paintbrush because I think it works well when you put it on with the paintbrush as well. So we're going to put a little bit of paint, a little bit of wax like that. And then I'm going to put some clear wax. So the clear wax really holds it all together. So put a little bit of clear, oops, that's a lot of wax, but that's okay, because I'm going to show you how it works now. So once you have the wax on there, you're going to get this thing. It's called a heat gun. It looks like a blow dryer, but it's actually for encaustic and for scrapbooking. And then I'm just going to turn it on. It gets really, really hot, so I'm going to be careful. And I'm just going to blend it all together. So you're going to see it really starts to melt it, and it blends it all together. Okay, we're going to blend it, and then it kind of like really makes the colors work together. Okay, and it's not going to be beautiful because I'm not paying too much attention about what the colors look like. So we're going to go like that, and then we're going to go around like this. Okay. So it's really like I said, it's a bit like a liquid acrylic, and you can kind of help it along there, but you'll see how quickly it dries. Like, it's kind of crazy how fast it dries. And so what I want to do now is I'm going to make a little thing out of wire, because I do want to show you how to combine the wire with the encaustic. And I thought it would be cool to maybe just I'm going to try to do like a little tree, but just keep it super simple, because I don't want to make this project too complicated. So I'm going to do a super simple tree and then attach it to the encaustic. So if I just like bend these 3 wires like that, and my hands are a little bit sticky now because the wax is kind of sticky. So I guess to wash my hands, I'd have to put them in really hot water to melt the wax. So we're just going to, I'm going to twist these together a little bit just to attach them. And then this one here, I actually have a full wire art course where I teach how to make these trees. I have a slightly different way of making them than like most people do the trees, but this way it's a little more flat, because sometimes when you twist all the wires together, they get really 2-3 dimensionals, which wouldn't necessarily work that well for this project, because to attach this to the encaustic, you don't want it to be too thick, because it really has to kind of get embedded in the wax a little bit. So let's just go ahead and keeping this one like really simple, because I don't want to make it too big either, and I don't want it to take too much time. So if we have like a very basic shape of a tree, and then we want to just like pull the roots out a little bit like that. And as always, if you guys want to chat on the live stream too, if you find I'm missing your comments and I'm not talking to you, it doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. It just means I don't always see the comments. So let's just add another wire in there to give it a little more thickness. I actually just did a collaboration with a friend of mine. She was making a wedding gift for I think it was a friend of her son's, and she commissioned me to make a tree like this, but an apple tree with a heart on it and a bride and a groom, and it turned out really well. So once she's given it to her people, I'll post a picture of it in the community section YouTube, or in the Facebook group. If you guys aren't already a member of the Wire Art and Jewelry Makers Club on Facebook, be sure to join. So let's just see how it's going to go on there. We're going to trim this a little bit so it doesn't take up too much room. We don't want it too big, this one. So let's just trim it up a little bit so it's going to fit. Okay. And you could definitely add more branches if you want, but I'm going to keep this one not too, oh, see it's sticking. So if we do something like this, and we can just make these a little bit, and the idea is you want it like not too thick. So let's, I'm just going to give it a little bit more shape. Okay, that's not too bad for like a super quick tree. It's not too bad. So, but what I'm thinking is we're going to need a little more wax on there just to make sure that it stays. And we can add a little bit more color too. So if I'm going to get my brush, I'm just going to get a little bit more color on there just to give it a little bit more depth. We'll just put a little bit of green. And I'm really not overthinking this background at all. I just want to have a nice base for the tree. We're going to pour a little more wax. Okay, put a little more wax on there. We'll spread it out a little bit so there's enough wax all around it. Yeah, it's not beautiful, but it's the idea. And I'll show you some of the other things we made after to show you how you can do it. And so let's just melt it. I'm going to melt it up a little bit. I bought some of your rings. Oh, thank you. That's so awesome. That's really wonderful. So we're just going to melt this as much as we can. Careful not to burn your finger because it is very hot. And I'm going to put it down on the table. Whoop, we'll put it flat. Okay, we'll get it around and around and around. Okay. And then let's just right away get that tree right on there. And then I'm going to have put some wax paper. So once it starts to cool, you want to get it right down on there. And I'm going to try this. I'm going to put some wax paper down. Oh, and maybe that's a little too, that should be all right. So let's just put it down. It has to cool. This is a little experimental because before I didn't have this roller. So now I'm going to just roll this on here and see if it's going to stick. I'm hoping it is. Because as always, you guys are such wonderful patient viewers that I feel like you're kind of my guinea pig sometimes, that I'm doing these designs and seeing if they're going to work out. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So we're just going to push that right in there and see if that's going to work. Okay, so let's cross our fingers and see if that's going to work. And we're just going to lift it up like that. Oh, and now it's like almost embedded too much in there. But so what we can do, if it's like too deep in the wax, we can just try to blow it a little bit more, just a little bit, to clear it out a little bit. Okay, we're gonna go like that. Just to see, because we want it to stick, but we don't want it to be too much covered. Okay, so I'm gonna let some of this drip off a little bit. Okay, now it's gotten really muddy, but this just will give you an idea of what you can do. And then once we're going to let it cool a little bit more and just kind of get this embedded in this. So if anybody watching this video actually does this project, be sure to share photos with me because it's, like I said, it's super experimental. I'm going to be definitely doing more work on this design, but you kind of see like it's not horrible. It's really not horrible. It's not wonderful, but it's not horrible. I think I could have chosen some better colors of wax, but I really like the idea. So here's the one with the tree that I just did, and then here's the one with the lady that I did earlier, which isn't too bad. Like she's kind of embedded in there, which is really cool. So I think for encaustic, this has got a lot of potential. I think it's super interesting. Looks awesome to me. Thank you so much. It's different, eh? It's really interesting. And then I'll definitely take photos of some of this work and post it Facebook page, just to show people, you know, some what you can do with mixed media. Actually, one of the people in the Facebook group posted something recently. It was a woman that makes dolls out of wire, and she puts little outfits on them out of fabric. So I'm actually going to link that in the description of this video, because I found it super inspiring and super cool. I forget her name offhand, but it was really, really cool. So what I'm going to show you now is another technique you can do with I'll leave these here so people can see them. I'm going to show you another little technique with the wax. I'm just going to move this camera back a little bit so you can see. I think I'm going to test it on clear cabochons with the wax. That would be a cool idea. I like that idea. Actually, let me move this back a little more so you can see all my colors. So here we go. So here's all the wax colors. I just love the wax. It smells nice. It's smooth. It's really, really cool. I really like what it does. So just excuse me while I get the cord here on my iPod adjusted. There we go. So another really interesting thing we discovered tonight that was a total kind of, you know, one of those beautiful mistakes. So just let me make sure I had cut some paper. I just have to find it. Yeah, here we go. So I have some papers here. So for this one, we actually are going to melt wax here and then pick up the designs. It's really, really cool. It makes a really neat idea. And I'm actually standing over the camera now. So if you guys make any comments, I should be able to see you. So the idea for this one is you just like take your blocks of wax. You can actually buy wax sticks, wax encaustic sticks. So I'm going to link up below where you could buy this. This hot plate literally cost me $2. You don't have to buy a brand new one. You can buy brand new ones. They're like $70. But if you buy it at a garage sale or in one of those Value Village or a secondhand store, a bazaar or church basement, you can get them quite cheaply. So definitely don't like spend a lot of money buying a hot plate, because you're going to ruin it anyways. So you could definitely get one at a secondhand store or at a bazaar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this up with wax. I'm just kind of randomly putting different colors on there. I'll just put a little bit of white. And this is very, you know, you're just going to have to guess at this because it's hard to know exactly what colors to put, but I'm going to kind of gob on some. I love this turquoise. It's beautiful. My friends really love this turquoise. Yeah, we actually have these art nights once every couple of months. We hadn't done one for a long time, but I had a few of my friends over. One is quite a very prolific Montreal artist, Patricia Srigley. She came and at first she didn't like the encaustic at all. She was like, ugh, this is not working out. I don't like it. And then when we discovered that we can do this with the wax, she just loved it. She thought it was so cool. So you melt the wax and then you get a paper. And if you don't have this encaustic wax, you can actually use crayons, but they just smell bad. You'll have to air out your house a little bit. And then we put the paper down on the hot plate, and then you wiggle it a bit, and then you lift it up, and look at how cool that is. It's so, so cool. Now I missed a little spot, unfortunately, there. It got a little white. So let's see if I could just pick up a little bit more in the corner. It's not too bad, a little more maybe, because I missed it. But look, that's kind of cool. Like, it's very abstract. And if you want to see the other pieces we did these tonight, these other pieces. Isn't that way cool? Yeah, tell me about it. It's so interesting. And like I said, in a pinch, if you're desperate to try it, you can do it with crayons. And even I've seen people do this with an iron, where they melt wax on an iron and then they put it on a paper. I could link up some videos below of some really interesting things for that. Awesome, eh, Melissa? Yeah, I mean, it's not wire, but like I said, I did do some experiments where I incorporated this with wire. So that's really cool. And I guess in theory, you could maybe add some clear wax on top and add some wire. I actually don't know if that would work very well or not. I could try it. I could try that with a piece, but I think what you would want to do is do it with a thicker paper so that it doesn't bend too much. You love learning different things. Me too. I'm telling you, anything creative, anything art, I just love it. And the beautiful thing about this is when you're done, it just cleans up like a charm. Like you can just get a paper towel and you just clean it off. Love to learn the method. Yeah, this method, it's very cool, eh? Just with the hot plate. Dude, the artist in me is going nuts. Yeah, tell me about it. We were freaking out tonight. It was so much fun. So let's try another one, and then I'm going to try to combine the wire on top of this one. So maybe I'm going to make this one a little more earthy. So we're going to just put some natural colors on there. So this is like a natural color. And then if you want to you can just take these and pour them on a little bit. So, well, this has a little bit of clear in it too. I don't know how that happened. And then we're just going to take some of these and just pour them. And don't worry if you mix it up a bit, because after you'll see it's very easy just to clean it off after. So let's put a bit of brown. Oh, it's got a little too brown now. So maybe I'll just pour a little more white on top. Okay, I think this is maybe getting a little messy, but it's not too bad. Let's just put a little more. Okay, so I think I maybe put too much wax, but let's just try. If I just put a little one on first to try. Oh, it's not too bad, but I'm pretty sure I put a little too much wax. So let's see what we can do if we just take like a little stick, and we could even do like this kind of design. Like as someone was saying tonight, that it kind of, when you do that, it looks a little bit like a cake, you know, with cake decorations. So let me get a little bit more red maybe. I don't know if I have enough red in here. Let's see if I can get some out. If not, I can just get my red here, put a little red down here. And let's see if we can just kind of mix it. This might have got too muddy. Ooh, interesting. Oh, wow. You know, do you guys watch those Taste Made videos where they do icing and stuff like that? It's kind of like that. So let's just put that one on there and see if it's all right. Oh, that's not too bad. It's kind of interesting. So why don't we let that one dry a little bit, and then I'm going to try to put another thing out of wire on it. But actually, I'm thinking let's do it on the thicker one first. So I'm going to put a little bit more paint. Well, they call it paint, but it's actually wax. So we're going to put a little bit more wax. Put a little bit more, just a teeny bit, without putting too much. We're going to try. And maybe a little more red down here. And a titch more green, just a little bit. Yeah, it's really hard to figure out the balance of how much paint to go in, and it's really hard to get it so it's not muddy. That's the problem. So let's put it on the thicker. This is watercolor paper. So if we put it on there and lift it up, it's kind of interesting. See, you just never know what you're going to get. So, but I find that kind of interesting. So for that, maybe we'll try to put a wire thing on top of it. So let me just get the wire again. And I'm using quite a thin wire. This is actually a 24 gauge wire, which seems to work quite well, because if the wire is too thick, it's not gonna stick on there. It's gonna just peel off. So if I try to make like a little heart or something, now my hands are like super waxy. I can almost just do that. Look at that. If I do that, because it's not super hot, you can clean your fingers off, but I think I'm gonna burn my fingers now, so I better not do that. So let's try to do like a little heart. Okay, we're just gonna bend these wires in here. So ideally I should maybe have some hot water and wash my hands. But so if we have like a little, it's hard to see. Where can I put it? Here, why don't I move this so you can see the heart. So here's the heart, and then I'm just going to get some round pliers. Okay, so we're going to get some round pliers and just turn in the ends a little bit. Okay, bring that down, turn in the ends like this. Now this is a very unusual live stream for me, because I usually do wire art and jewelry, But if you're sticking with me here, thank you so much, because I'm just like really having fun trying something different, combining the wire with the encaustic. And so if we just kind of form a little heart, you'll see it's all really full of wax because my hands are really sticky right now, but there's the heart. And then if we want to attach it onto here, what we can do is, I think I'm going to put a little bit more clear on there, although my clear is already hard. So why don't I just go, what I was thinking is maybe I could just put it on here. This is like the surface is hot. Oh wow, look at, it's already starting to melt when you put it on there. But I don't want it to melt too much. But if we just put it on there so it softens up, and then we put the heart on there, okay. I should have maybe flattened it a little bit, but if we put it on there, okay, and then let's remove it. So it's going to cool a little bit, but we want to cool it a little bit, but not too much that we won't be able to press it in. So we're going to cool it off a little bit. Okay, but not like to see, it's still really hot. So if we hold this down while it cools down, okay, the idea is to really to get it to be able to stick. So it seems to be cooled down a little bit, and you don't want too much wax on top or it tends to cover it up. So if we just put it on like that, and now what I'm going to try to do is get my wax paper again and just press it down. So I just have to see where I put my wax paper, and I'm going to press it down a little bit. So I have this, actually I might not even need the wax paper. I'm just gonna put it down here. I'm gonna bring this down so you guys can see it. Hey, what's up Montreal? How are you? You chose a very unusual live stream to come on because we're playing with encaustic. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. You'll definitely have to watch the replay because it's melted wax, and I'm trying to embed the wire into the wax. So we're going to see what we're going to do here. It's not typical of my live streams, but I'm just having really fun with it. So it's not too bad, but I think what we're going to have to do for this one is to add some clear wax. Of course, my clear wax is sticking to the table. So here's the clear wax. And if we just, let me bring this up a little bit more. So I'm going to melt some clear wax and put it on top because I think that it's, you need a little extra layer of wax on there. So if you're just hopping on, this is the one we did earlier. It's like a tree. And then I did the other one, which was like a little woman like that. So all we're going to have to do now is just melt this wax a little bit. Let's see how long it takes. And in the meantime, I'll show you some of the other ones we did with that kind of drip techniques. So Kim says, I love this idea. Reminds me of the 60s tie-dyeing. Yes, definitely looks like tie-dye, especially some of like these colorful ones. Like really looks like tie-dye. And I'm just, and look at the text, like the patterns and the textures in there. It's so cool. And it's interesting because you don't always get what you expect. Like you just kind of, even if you just throw a bunch of colors on there and put the paper down, you can get some really interesting effects. You know, this one obviously it had a lot of wax. It's very liquidy. So that was a little bit different. And then it's hard to see, but with this one, okay, this one here, like the woman is made out of wire, but the tree is actually, I drew the tree with on tissue paper and then put it on top. And actually I could show you how I did that while the clear wax melts. Let me bring this down a little bit more. Okay. And then so for the tissue paper, what you would do is just take a little piece of tissue paper. And when I took an encaustic course, she actually did this. She had a special kind of Japanese paper that she drew on. And actually, she didn't just draw on it. She did a photo transfer onto the special paper. Like she had it, you could put it in your printer and actually print on this paper. And then when you put it on the encaustic, it actually kind of dissolved into the piece, which was super interesting. So if I just kind of do, I don't know, maybe like a little flower here. This is Actually, my surface is too rough, so let me try again. I'm just going to get like a little piece of tissue, and then we'll just do a little design on there, and then we're going to embed it on the wax, but I don't want it too big because I'm just going to do a sample piece. So if we just take this and then maybe draw like a little flower or something on there, keep it very simple. Okay, so what you would need to do is actually, I have to find a spatula that's not too dirty. Okay, so what I want to do, I'm going to just clean my spatula, and to clean it, we just put it on the hot plate. It melts off the wax, and then we're just going to take it off like that. So see, already it's clean. When I lived in Japan, they made lots of awesome art using very thin rice paper. Exactly, that's so cool. And you know what's interesting? My friend Denise Pilger-Griesman, she lived in Montreal for a few years, and now she's living in Japan, and she's making art there. And she's making like her kind of traditional, what she usually does is photo transfer, but she's making it in a Japanese style now, which is neat. And my daughter just came in. Hey, Mimi.
Hey.
How are you? I'm just doing a live stream with Encaustic.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I have dessert for us. I had a party, so I have dessert for my daughter. She just came in. So there we go. So I'm just putting, you see, I'm just putting the flower on there with the tissue, and it doesn't look like much, but if you cover it now with the clear, so we're going to cover it with the clear wax, and you have to cover it because when you put the heat gun on it, you don't want it to burn, so it has to be covered with wax like that. I'm going to put a little more wax on this one too, on the wire one, just to hold it in place. Okay, and then okay, this is, like I'm saying, this is very experimental, but it's fun. I'm having a lot of fun. So now we're going to just melt it in a little bit. Let me hold it up so you guys can see it better, because this is a heat gun. So if we just like melt it a little bit, okay, so we can see that a little bit, and we're going to do this one too. Okay, so we did that. So we've just melted it a little bit. The flower is very subtle because I think the background was quite dark, so it doesn't show up so well, but you'll see now the heart sticks on there better because it's got a little bit more wax on it. So that's it. I think we're good for today, guys. So I'm just going to show you what we did. We did the tree, and we did that one, and then this one I did previously with the woman. And I'm going to flip my screen and say goodbye. So let me just flip my screen. There we go. So that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for putting up with my very unusual live stream doing mixed media. So you'll see with wire, you can combine it with all kinds of different techniques. I also do a lot of watercolor backgrounds where I put wire in the foreground, which is a lot of fun. So night. Yeah, thanks so much for hopping on the live stream, everybody. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots of wire art and jewelry videos. Join the Facebook group if you're not already in the Wire Art and Jewelry Makers Club. Thanks, Melissa. Love it. Have a great night. Have a great night, everybody. And Kim says, thank you. Have a great night. Thanks so much, Kim. And we'll see everybody in the Facebook group. And I have a new video.